My name's Ryan Hogue. I'm a group program manager on the OneDrive team. I'm in charge of the mobile applications. Did a talk last year where I kind of gave the introduction to what we're doing with the mobile apps. I'm here for take two to kind of show what we've delivered and what's new in the last year. So most of the talk today is going to be demo, but I got a couple kickoff slides. So for folks that aren't familiar with OneDrive, it's really the service that allows you to access, collaborate, and share with anyone inside and outside of your organization. And we have applications on all the mobile platforms that allow you to connect to both your OneDrive files and your SharePoint team files as well. So looking at momentum over the last year, we've had amazing growth. Specifically on mobile, I wanted to call out a key stat here that we're sharing. We have our app installed on over 300 million different devices. So that's not just a download count, that's unique devices that have installed our app. So that's really awesome, and there's not a lot of companies or service providers that can make claims like that with numbers like this. And then looking at specific features that we've delivered, wanted to kind of highlight some of the more interesting ones. There's been over 50 unique new capabilities that we've added to the OneDrive mobile applications since last Ignite. Some of the highlights here I kind of bolded. We've got single sign-on working now across the majority of the Office and Microsoft applications, including Word, Excel, PowerPoint, OneNote, Outlook, Teams, OneDrive, SharePoint. Sign in once, it works everywhere. We've added rich viewing capabilities to all the Office docs inside of the OneDrive app, in addition to the other formats we've supported before, and I'm going to show a little bit more there. And then a whole bunch of other capabilities that are kind of called out here, plus a lot that aren't even on this list. But that's enough slides. Let me get into some demos. So I'm going to start off by showing what's new on Android. I want to see, show of hands, how many primary Android users do we have? Okay, all right. So this is for you, and maybe not for you, but you'll be interested anyway. Okay. All right, this is going to be a little tough to see since it's shrinking to the middle. I don't want to flip it landscape, do I? Okay. So the first thing you'll notice here, for those that use the app today, we've got a brand new look and feel. This is rolled out to our beta users last week, so if you're in the beta community, which we have about 30,000 people on Android, you've seen this. If not, this is probably your first time. So I want to just call out a couple of the key things here that we've changed and why we made those changes. So the first thing that's gone is the hamburger slide out menu. You can see that's not here. What we've done is replaced it with a tab bar at the bottom so that it's easier to get to all of the other views in the app, not just the primary files view. So you can see I've got down here on the bottom files, recent, shared, and my sites. And so this is a lot easier than having those off screen. We actually know this from some of our usage data. iOS has a similar design to this with a tab bar, and we saw higher engagement with all those views. So we wanted to bring this to Android to make it even easier to get to all the content that you care about. Another change that we've made here is we knew that on-item commanding wasn't always the most discoverable. So what we used to have was the ability to press and hold, and then in the top here, you would see commands show up for what I can do with this folder. We've added a new ability here with a context menu indicated with the ... I now tap that. I get a clear sheet that pops up that, in addition to icons, which not everybody knows what the icon stands for, we put labels. So it's really clear to all the users in your organization exactly what commands are available for which item. So another new thing that I wanted to show here while I've got this brought out, last Ignite, I demoed offline files. Now, it was well received, people liked it, but then the obvious question was, when can I take folders offline? So over the last couple months, we've brought this feature to both Android and iOS. So I've got this folder called Desktop selected here. I can tap Keep Offline. You can see it's preparing for offline use. I see a green check right there next to the size of the folder. That's that familiar green check that I would also see on my Windows PC or on my Mac. That way I know the content's available offline. I can drill in, and inside of this folder, I can even see every item is marked for offline use. So this is a super handy scenario so that if Say you're a sales rep and you're going to meet with a customer and you're not sure of the internet connectivity at their office, you can have all of your important marketing collateral available to you that you can just pull up regardless of if you're connected. Oh, I had a clap. Clap if you like it. Yeah, that's a really cool feature, and people really like that one. Other aspects here in the view that I wanted to kind of talk about, some things that have changed. So we've added an enhanced thumbnail view where you can also see I can do the on-item commanding for each of these. You also notice we're bringing in really nice thumbnail previews of different items. And we've always been able to preview certain file types like images, videos, PDFs, and Office files. We've now added the ability to preview other file types. This is an Adobe Illustrator file. This is also another SVG file. And so we are actually doing in-app rendering of all of this content. Let me jump to another folder here. These are DICOM images. So what's great here is the OneDrive app can render hundreds of file types now without the user having to leave the application and go to a third-party app to view this. You also have the ability, if you're managing this content and you want to protect it from leaking outside of your organization, if you're running Intune and you've got MAM policies in place, all of this content is secured, it's not leaking outside, and then the user doesn't have to go find a solution to try to view these. So this is really great. This is going to be rolling out broadly next month. It's in preview right now. And the final thing that I wanted to show here on Android is account switching. So again, with the hamburger menu gone, we've still kept account switching here in the top left. So if I tap that briefcase icon, you can see I have my Contoso travel account added. I can add additional accounts here. And new this week, we just started rolling out support for SharePoint on-prem 2013 and 2016. So if you have an on-prem server that you need to connect to, the OneDrive app supports that, in addition to the iOS app that's had that support for a little while. Yay. Yay for on-prem. OK. So I think that is it for Android. Let me see. I had my little cheat sheet. My notes are literally this big. Let me make sure I covered everything here. Yes. OK. So now let's switch over to iOS. OK. Try to give myself some room here. Got a small little podium. OK. So unfortunately, we don't have as large of a beta community or opportunity on iOS. So this is going to be kind of new for pretty much everyone here. But what you'll see is the same UX updates are being brought here to iOS. So we've got the same great grid view here, the beautiful previews of all the item types, the on-item commanding. So I can select, I see the sheet with all the capabilities. Supporting this also in list view. And what's great here on the iPad, we're taking advantage of the real estate really for the first time. We didn't really do much in the OneDrive app previously. If you had larger real estate, we just kind of display more. But now what we're doing, we're laying out the tabs nicer on the bottom. I can do sorting here. So really you have kind of a file explorer-like view with your files, and you can interact with them. And this really makes this a much more capable productivity device for users. Other things that I wanted to show here that are unique to iOS, we brought the Discover view that we had on Android last year. We've revamped the design, and we brought this capability to iOS now. So for those that don't know, Discover is powered by the Microsoft Graph, and it provides a super easy way for you to see interesting and relevant content in your organization that either your peers or colleagues are editing, viewing, pretty much things that are trending around you. So this is a great way to stay up to date if people are collaborating on a new customer presentation, or there's a common document that's being read by your peers and you want to be in the loop. And so again, this kind of surfaces with nice previews for all the items. I can jump right in and view any of this content. And this is brand new to iOS this year. with this brand new design, and we've actually revamped the design for Android as well. Let me jump in here and show you my sites. So also, like we saw on Android, I have the ability to get to my sites. So this is all of my SharePoint team sites. And I can drill in here, and I can see this document library for legal. And I can see all the files associated with it here. And again, it's actually on the fly. I hadn't hydrated this one, so it's generating previews of those right now. And I switch, and you can see I've got the thumbnails for all the content there, which is great. Let me go back here to the top level as well. I want to show you the rich file viewing experience again. So here we are, again, showing the previews for the Illustrator file. I'm going to see how quickly this goes. This is, again, kind of on the fly here. Let's see if it... Nope, that one's not going to behave. So we're not going to show that one. Here's another SVG file. So this is super great that users now can stay inside the application and have the ability to preview any content without worrying if they have an app that's capable of viewing that. So the next thing I want to show is a couple of new capabilities. The first one we haven't shipped yet, but you can look at the command here, the kind of new command flow, and we've got this create flow option. So we're going to be integrating with Flow so that you can create kind of end-to-end work streams for different actions that you want to have happen with your files and folders in OneDrive or SharePoint. So for example, you could set up a rule that every time a file is added to the team expense report folder to kick off a mail to send to a certain manager so that they get notified and they can go in and do an approval process, or any one of dozens of workflows that you can create. This is, again, kind of an early preview internally, and we're going to be rolling this out later this fall. So stay tuned for that. The next thing I want to show is around scan. So this is a uniquely mobile-centric capability that we're just starting to scratch the surface on, that we're going to make a lot more investments in going forward. So we've brought the power of Office Lens. Here, I'll get this off of everybody here so they don't get embarrassed. And we'll show, let me see if I can do this with all of this stuff here to not be super awkward. So you can see we've got smart cropping going on here. I can select whether it's a document, whiteboard, business card. Just go ahead and snap that. See, it cleans it up right here. I could go through, if I hit the plus in the bottom right, I can actually add multiple images together and kind of stitch together a multi-page PDF if I want to have a single document. I could crop it, rotate it. I can rename this file here by tapping on the top. And we think, I'm going to go ahead and just cancel out of this and go back to the main view. We think that the capture and scan scenarios are something super compelling that the OneDrive apps can play a key role in doing. And we know not everybody's going to go to the OneDrive app to capture things directly, and a lot of people are just going to use the native camera on their phone. So we want to cover that scenario too. So we don't have anything to show today, but next year we're going to bring the auto upload capability that we have for consumer to business users as well, so that even if you're jumping into the native Photos app and you want to capture a whiteboard, you want to capture a document, we'll do smart processing on the cloud once it gets uploaded, do a cleanup of that whiteboard, cleanup of the document, and have it ready for you. So that you never miss kind of any of the stuff you're trying to capture. It's always getting to the right spot. Now the last thing I want to show here is new for iOS 11. So I don't know if folks saw Apple's developer conference in June. They announced a new app called the Files app that's available on iOS 11. So this just became available this week. It was announced that OneDrive was going to be supporting that. I've got an early build here that I can show you what that looks like. So you can see I launched the Files app here, and I see OneDrive for Contoso on the left. When I navigate into this, I can see my same familiar files. We're generating the same previews here, so I can see all the thumbnails for everything that we can generate a preview and render. I can go through here and open these in a third-party application. I can mark them for offline. We're going to support things like tagging and adding to favorites. And with this capability here, we think a lot of the kind of use case and just kind of basic file management and access is going to shift to this application. And so we're going to make sure we support this great so that when third-party applications want to interface with the data, we're going to be there from pretty much day one so that we've got a great solution. Now, another unique thing that's kind of come available in iOS 11 is drag and drop. And so let me show you what that looks like. I am going to just navigate into this new folder here and get rid of this. Nope, not going to rate the app right now. Okay, so what I wanted to show here is, whoa, microphone just got loud. So you can see I've got my mail app snapped over here to the right. Andy sent me an attachment. This looks like it's an AI file. My device, I don't have Adobe Illustrator on my iPad. I can't view this thing, but I really want to see what's going on with this. So if I just select this, drag it over here to the OneDrive app, and drop it, you can see, let's make sure that this works. Uh-oh, we might have gotten in a funky state. Oh, here we go. Okay, it's going a little slow. But if this finishes, what it would do is generate the preview of the Illustrator file. We're very close, so I'll just kind of keep talking and let it do its thing. We're here at the tail end. Maybe. Wow. Okay, Wi-Fi. Okay, what this would do is generate a preview of this file so that I don't even have to worry about having another application that can render the document. As soon as it's added here, we do the conversion and convert it to a format that's viewable by our app. Okay, I'll bail on that one. Okay, let me switch back over to the PC here real quick. For the Files app? It will be. It will be. Okay. Okay, and literally my last slide is going to be a shout out to future OneDrive talks this week. I'm doing another talk on Wednesday around managing and securing OneDrive content, where I'm going to do a deep dive on what's possible with our admin and MAM and MDM capabilities and controls for folks that want to learn more about protecting all the end user capabilities that I just showed here. There's a lot of great sessions. There's a couple keynotes tomorrow that aren't listed that Jeff Tieper is leading one of those. I would highly encourage you to attend those in the morning. And then the OneDrive Unplugged session on Thursday is going to be a lot of fun. That's a good panel of experts from our team that are going to be up there to be able to talk and answer questions that you might have in a pretty informal environment. And that's it. Thank you very much.